The fascist subtext of Attack on Titan can't go overlooked. 1,000 death threats against a popular anime creator. Why Attack on Titan is the alt-right's favorite manga. Shalom, my weebs. My name is Jacob Jonesu and welcome to my channel. And today we're going to be talking about the international phenomenon, Attack on Titan. I even stopped shaving for a little bit so I could have my post-time skip look for this. Just now entering its final season, the hype for Attack on Titan couldn't possibly be any higher. But as Attack on Titan's hype reaches an all-time high, so does its controversy. The fascist subtext of Attack on Titan can't go overlooked. 1,000 death threats against a popular anime creator. Why Attack on Titan is the alt-right's favorite manga. And if you look up Attack on Titan anti-Semitic on Google, you'll find many more articles claiming that the series has some really sinister undertones. So I thought, f it, I'll put my hand on that white hot stove and make a video about it. This is my opinion of Attack on Titan as a Jewish person. In full disclaimers, I'm not actually Orthodox Jewish, and I don't actually really have any religious practices myself because I'm not really a religious person. Being Jewish is my ethnic background though. Yeah, I suffered through 8 years of Hebrew school and floundered my way through bar mitzvah, so you can't say shit. Also, I'm not the authority voice of all Jewish people. I'm certain a lot of other people have different opinions from me. I'm just the Jewish guy that made a video about this. So first of all, I like Attack on Titan. I watch new episodes every Sunday, and I read the new chapters every month when they come out. The story is so well written with the perfect amount of fake outs and twists. But it can't be denied that there is some pretty heavy World War II subtexts and parallels in the series, especially after the end of Season 3 Part 2 with that reveal that they're not alone on the island. There's an oppressed group of people that are forced to wear armbands and live in ghettos. Themes of racial superiority, cruelty, colonialism, hell, even the opening theme kinda has some Fiddler on the Roof vibes. But this alone isn't really a bad thing. The oppressor country, Marley, isn't really treated as good for treating those filthy Eldians like shit. No, they're made to look like Nazis. I was honestly more uncomfortable with Stroheim from Part 2 of JoJo's being an actual Nazi that you're supposed to care about. I still love JoJo's, I just found Stroheim uncomfortable. But having the Marleyan people called the Eldian people, monsters, inhuman, and other such insults, isn't the creator calling Jewish people that. It's more of just an accurate depiction of how Jewish people have been treated throughout history. One more thing that's also important to point out is that while yes, it does have World War II and Nazi Germany themes, it's not a one-to-one comparison. There are gonna be differences because Attack on Titan is a work of fiction, not a genuine retelling of history. I'll probably touch on that a little more later though. So I'm actually really curious to see if any other Jewish people feel the same about this, but yeah, we're finally the main characters, boys! There are other anime and manga where they have a race that's supposed to represent the Jewish people, like the Ishvalans from Full Metal Alchemist, but Scar is more of a supporting character at best. The entire cast of the main characters of Attack on Titan are Eldians. And you know what? It's kind of flattering to be depicted as so badass for once. Listen, I'm a guy with thick skin and all, but I'm getting kind of tired of Jewish people being depicted like Kyle's cousin Kyle from South Park. I'm starting to think that a lot of these people haven't actually met any Jewish people in their lives if this is the stereotype. You'd think the stereotype would be losing your virginity in the bathroom of a BBYO dance, or avoiding paying off your student loans by not taking your return flight home after your birthright trip to Israel. But nope, we're stuck with unathletic, annoying ginger kids with weird voices. So forgive me if I'm chuffed as f by the fact that we're finally depicted like this.
さっきは随分と楽しそうだったな。もっと楽しんでくれよ。
I guess the one thing that may or may not be seen as offensive to other Jewish people is the fact that the Eldian race is the only race that's capable of turning into giant man-eating monsters, which kind of drives in the old anti-Semitic ravings that Jewish people are part beast. But the main cast uses this power to fight back against their oppressors and do badass shit. So yeah, like I said before, it's very similar to World War II and Nazi Germany, but it's also different because it's a work of fiction. Namely, the fact that Jewish people can't turn into giant man-eating monsters. It would sure be f***ing cool though. Yeah, this doesn't really strike a negative chord with me, but it's just something I thought might be seen as anti-Semitic to other Jewish people, so let me know what you think in the comments. I'm assuming most of you have seen or read this article before, but if you haven't, I'll fill you in real quick. Back when the second part of the third season of Attack on Titan was finishing up airing, an article went up on Polygon titled, "The Fascist Subtext of Attack on Titan Can't Go Overlooked." And this article got a lot of online attention, creating a lot of backlash towards the manga creator Hajime Isayama and causing a lot of people to just abandon the series as a whole. I mean, Attack on Titan is still wildly popular, but a sizable chunk of the fan base left and refused to acknowledge the series anymore. And I, as a Jewish person, read the article and thought, a lot of people calling out Attack on Titan right now either didn't read the article or don't read the manga or watch the anime. And to prove that to you, I'm going to go through each point this article makes, and I'm going to give you my opinion on it. There may be a manga spoiler or two in here, but I'm going to mark anything I think is a really big manga spoiler so you'll know when it's coming. So one of the first things that the Polygon article hints at being anti-Semitic is the fact that the Eldian, or Jewish race in this case, has a bloody and oppressive history. That was until King Karl Fritz was ashamed of his people's history and started a civil war that led to him retreating to Paradise Island, erecting 3 walls, and changing the memories of all people to make them think that they're the last of humanity. We know for a fact in the manga that the power of the 9 Titans was used by the people of Eldia to defeat the people of Marley, but the 2,000 years of oppression and bloodshed from Eldia is disputed in the manga itself. There's even a part in the manga where John disputes the validity of the 2,000-year history. I don't know if anyone remembers Nazi Germany or knows anything about fascism, but one thing that was common for them to do was, literally rewrite history to make the Jews look f***ing evil. Like I said before, just because something echoes something that literally happened in history doesn't mean it's anti-Semitic. When getting into the real meat and potatoes of the article, it says, but well-dressed aesthetics and pacing can only do so much before you start to notice the ideas bubbling underneath the surface. Isayama's work is full of anti-Korean nationalist, pro-Japan subtext, parallels to anti-Semitic conspiracy theories, and subtextual references to Nazi Germany. And like I said before, referencing Nazi Germany isn't exactly a bad thing. If the Marleyan oppressors were portrayed as heroes and like they were doing a good thing, then we'd have a problem. But having a group of people that's supposed to represent Nazis treat another group of people that's supposed to represent Jews as Nazis actually treated Jews isn't anti-Semitic. As a Jewish person, I think echoing something like this in such a popular media outlet is a good thing because it shows people just how f***ing awful the Holocaust was. This is just my opinion though. Remember, I'm not the authority voice of all Jewish people. Following that, the article says, for one thing, there's the so-called pure Titans. That is, the random Titans that menace our characters throughout the series. Nude, creepily smiling cannibals, these pure Titans are mindless, not even needing to eat to live so much as for fun. Many of them have grotesque or exaggerated features from short arms to giant heads to large noses. And then there's the Eldians living in ghettos wearing star-embroidered armbands. So this one I think has some coincidences in it, but it also has a little bit of validity with the armbands. But the armband thing ties back to how Jewish people were forced to wear stars in Nazi Germany to identify themselves as Jewish people. Once again, it's a parallel, not anti-Semitism. As far as the pure Titans go, the story didn't start out as a World War II Nazi Germany parallel. It started out as a post-apocalyptic nightmare for what was thought of as the last of humanity. Having the pure Titans be grotesque and creepy isn't a racist caricature of Jewish people because racist caricatures of Jewish people didn't look like that. Sure, the Titans had some exaggerated features and sure, some of them even had big noses. But the nature of the Titans was supposed to be that the transformation was super unstable, making them have longer, skinny arms or big heads or something. But yeah, these exaggerated features didn't really resemble racist caricatures at all. Having the grotesque and creepy pure Titans was just better for the horror aspect of the story. After the big twist where the mindless Titans were actually transformed Eldian people, it could look a little bit anti-Semitic that Eldian people had the capability of turning into giant mindless monsters, but I thought it more highlighted the cruelty of the Marleyan people who forced the Eldians to transform into the Titans. You know, like how Nazis did cruel experiments to Jewish people in real life? The article then says, military might is presented as the strongest, truest power of all. This goes far beyond the typical theme in Japanese action media of the group of friends banding together, doing their best and changing the world. Frequently the military, particularly the Survey Corps that Aaron and the rest of the main cast belong to, is presented as full of pure, rational decision makers and unquestioned commanders. The clearly unhinged soldiers like the Titan researcher Zoe Hange and the goofball Sasha Blouse are mocked, but the certitude that they should lead is never interrogated. Yeah, that's a bit of a stretch. I think the article's trying to say that Attack on Titan promotes unquestioned military rule, fascism, etc. And while yes, there is unquestioned military rule and military power is a big component of the story, that's just all it is though, a component of the story. It's a story about a dystopian world, not what the real world should look like. It doesn't even make the military rule look like a good thing. Especially how the trademark phrase of the Survey Corps leader Commander Irwin is offer your hearts, which is supposed to feel kinda messed up. You're not supposed to watch a bunch of soldiers do a death charge and think, fuck yeah, that's what I wanna do. I guess the point I'm trying to make is just because the government in Attack on Titan is by definition a fascist government doesn't mean that the government is supposed to be viewed as a good thing. Moving away from the anti-Semitism claims in the article and more towards the anti-Korean and pro-nationalist subtext claims in the article, it says, stepping back from the text itself to what Isayama has said about the text, there are all sorts of uncomfortable parallels to real history. In a 2010 blog post, Isayama admitted that a supporting character, wily General Dot Pixis, was based on the real-life Japanese general Akiyama Yoshifuru, who served in the Japanese Imperial Army from 1916 to 1923. Considered a hero in Japan, and that Isayama himself views Yoshifuru as an admirable man. So this is the part of the article where I'm not really qualified to have an opinion on, but I would be really interested to hear from anyone who is from China or Korea or has family from China or Korea. I'd love to hear your opinion on this. For those of you who don't know who Yoshifuru is, he did participate in some very heinous war crimes. And yeah, Dot Pixis does look a lot like the guy. I wouldn't say resemblance to a historically shitty person is a bad thing, but it certainly is uncomfortable, and like I said, this isn't really something I should have that much of an opinion about. So yeah, let me know what you think about this one.
Tactical nuke incoming!
The final problem I have with the article is this statement. Then there's the ultimate goal of the Jaegerists, being to re-establish the Eldian Empire and take their bloody revenge on the world. Given the unavoidable implied parallels between Eldians in Marley and the Jews in Nazi Germany, the eventual apocalypse that the manga seems to be building towards is subtextually like something out of Alex Jones' Darkest Raving. That is to say, it's not hard to draw a line between the Jaegerists' plan of laying waste to the world and the much-beloved right-wing talking points that the Jews either are already secretly controlling the world or are plotting to through finances, Hollywood, or whatever bullshit that leaks out of their demented heads this week. I just straight up don't see this connection at all. Obviously, Aaron's plan of ending the world outside of Paradise Island is a terrible thing, and it really highlights his transformation from the main protagonist to the final boss in the end. But that doesn't really compare to the vile things that insects like Alex Jones are spewing from their mouths on a daily basis. Ever since the beginning, Aaron's been portrayed as this tragic character hell-bent on revenge, which later turns into him wanting absolute freedom for him and his people. But from the beginning, everyone knows that he had a few fucking screws loose. And then finally he has the power to gain the freedom for his people via the rumbling and ending the world outside of his island. And yeah, revenge is something that is looked down upon in Judaism via Exodus and Leviticus and stuff like eye for an eye and whatnot. But this is strictly Aaron and the Jaegerists' ideology. Literally every other Eldian character opposes the rumbling. This is just part of Aaron's story arc, not the Eldians. The Eldians just want to live peacefully and coexist in the world, which is a massive part of Judaism itself. That being said, if there has to be a Jewish villain in the story, I'm kinda glad that they're depicted so badass like this. One character that I think does fit in with the point that this article is trying to make is Willie Tybur. Willie Tybur is a much better example of all the bullshit Alex Jones says about the globalists. Why does Willie, an Eldian, rule Marley from the shadows? That was one thing I thought was just kind of a weird choice and almost bad writing. That's infinitely more of a Jews are ruling the world from the shadows kind of thing than the Jaegerists wanting to end the world. But even then, that gets rectified almost immediately when Aaron kills Willie almost immediately after he's introduced into the series, and when he uses Nutcracker no Jutsu to steal the power of the Warhammer Titan from the Tybur family. But yeah, that's like the one thing that sits weird with me a little bit. And credit where credit's due, the article does say that no one really knows what Isayama is thinking except for himself. It is a fairly well-written article, so I feel kind of bad for shitting all over it. But yeah, I just didn't agree with most things. Let me know what you think about it in the comments. I've said this a million times in this video already, but the one thing that's really important to keep in mind is while yes, there are subtexts to Nazi Germany and World War II and their treatment of the Jewish people, it's still a fictional work. It is different. It's a story element, not the whole story. Because looking back, majority of the Attack on Titan story wasn't a World War II parallel, it was a dystopian nightmare. I don't think it should be so taboo to include historical elements in fictional work, especially when the moral of the story is Nazis bad. The entire message of Attack on Titan is fighting to end cycle of hatreds, which I think falls perfectly in line with Jewish ideology. And like I said earlier, I love how the Jewish characters are finally the badasses. You know what? I forgot Inglourious Bastards was a thing. But still, this is a trend I'd like to see continued. If you liked this video, I'd definitely love to do more in-depth analyses of anime and manga like this, so let me know in the comments what videos you'd want to see in the future. Please, please, please also feel free to like this video and subscribe to my channel. If you want a good starting point on any of my other videos, please check out my Amazon Katana review video up here or in the description below. People seem to be liking that one right now. I'm also 100% going to be doing more Katana review videos. I just need to get my hands on more Katana first. And that's all. Follow me on Twitter, link in the description below, and I will see you next time. Gokigen yo!